I feel like we don't talk enough about what a huge disappointment Woodrow Wilson was. I mean, I think about it all the time, but I want to be clear in this video, I'm not talking about who Woodrow Wilson actually was. I know who he actually was, and this dream of mine would have never happened under Wilson, but it's more about like what could have been. It's more about like a time machine moment. Could I go back and like make a change in world history? And I think this might be in my top 5 moments that I would change. So Woodrow Wilson got a PhD in history, which makes me predisposed to like him, but God, he makes it so hard. He makes it impossible to like him. He then is the president of Princeton. He goes on to run for the presidency as a progressive Democrat, which means different things than it does today, but still he was part of this progressive movement, which spanned both the Democratic and the Republican parties at the time, and they were really fighting for a lot of reforms that would bring us out of the Gilded Age. Now, Wilson stops really any of those reforms at like white men. Anything beyond white men, he's like, no, let's not get crazy. He resegregates his White House. He screens Birth of a Nation, the KKK fanboy cosplay movie, as like the first film ever shown in the White House. He opposes women's suffrage and thinks it's just like hilarious and terrible. But the thing that is such, I think, a huge missed opportunity is his 14 points. His 14 points, I'm sure you learned about this in your history class. It's this list of like things that if all the major powers, or at least all the winning powers on the winning side of World War I agreed to, would potentially maybe end major global world wars moving forward, which is incredibly overconfident, which Woodrow was. He thought he was like the smartest man in every room, but still the idea I want to talk about here is the idea of self-determination. So Woodrow Wilson, one of his points was like, hey, the people of Europe need self-determination. He's talking specifically about like the Balkans, this area where the war had begun, right? The Ottoman Empire had lost control over these as colonies, and Austria-Hungary wanted them as colonies. And Woodrow says, listen, let's just let them decide what their government's going to look like. Now that to him does not extend beyond white people, but non-white people around the world, colonized people around the world hear this and they think that maybe Woodrow's going to be their guy. Maybe the United States is truly going to be the defender of freedom and democracy around the world. A young Ho Chi Minh is at Paris during the Paris Peace Agreement, and he repeatedly wants to meet with Woodrow Wilson. He's like, I love this idea of self-determination, and I would love for Vietnam to get its independence from France in a way that is as peaceful as possible, but he gets ignored. You also have like Korean leaders who look over and go, maybe now's the time that we can start really pushing against the Japanese, the brutal occupation of Imperial Japan. This is going to lead to like the beginning of their March 1st movement. You have Gandhi, who was in South Africa working as a lawyer when the war started, but went back to India because he was like, I think this is the moment. I think this is when we can start to really push for independence and decolonization, and now maybe the United States is going to back us. Now, of course we don't, but I do like to imagine us taking a different path where we instead spent the 20th century being the spokesperson for self-determination and becoming kind of the moderator, the mediator between the colonizers and the colonized, like creating a better, more free world. But of course, just a dream.